Imagine Rome, the heart of a vast empire, engulfed in flames. Citizens scream and run through streets filled with smoke. Buildings collapse around them, and the night sky glows red with fire. Amidst the chaos, legend says the emperor himself played music on his lyre, seemingly indifferent to the destruction. This emperor is Nero, a man whose name has become synonymous with decadence, cruelty, and madness. But was Nero truly the monster history made him out to be? Or is there more to the story of this infamous ruler? Today, we will explore the life, reign, and legacy of Nero, the emperor who burned Rome, uncovering the shocking, bizarre, and often overlooked truths behind the myths. To understand Nero, we must first understand the Rome he inherited, a city of nearly 1 million people, teeming with merchants, senators, slaves, and soldiers. A city of wealth, ambition, and political tension. Nero's story is not just of fire and cruelty, but also of power, artistry, and human complexity. Let's begin with his early life. Nero was born as Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus on December 15th, 37 AD. His family belonged to the powerful Julio-Claudian dynasty. His mother, Agrippina the Younger, was one of the most ambitious women in Roman history. She understood politics, influence, and power better than most senators. Nero's early childhood wasn't stable. His father died when he was young. His mother was later exiled by Emperor Caligula. Life in Rome's ruling family was dangerous. Assassination, betrayal, and sudden death were common. Everything changed when Caligula was assassinated. Agrippina returned from exile and eventually married her own uncle, Emperor Claudius. This shocked Rome, but it gave her a path to the throne. She convinced Claudius to adopt Nero, putting him ahead of Claudius's biological son, Britannicus. When Claudius suddenly died, possibly poisoned, Nero became emperor at just 16 years old. At first, his rule was surprisingly stable. Guided by Seneca, a philosopher, and Burrus, the commander of the Praetorian Guard, Nero made decisions that pleased the people. He lowered taxes. He ended unfair trials. He punished corrupt officials. The early years of Nero's reign were calm and productive, but behind the scenes, tension grew. Agrippina expected to control her son, and Nero resisted. Their relationship collapsed. Eventually, Nero ordered her assassination, and with that, he stepped into full and absolute power. In July of 64 AD, during a brutally hot summer, a fire broke out near the Circus Maximus. No one knows exactly what caused it. It might have been an accident, a cooking fire, or even a spark from a shop. The fire spread rapidly. Rome's streets were narrow, and many buildings had wooden upper floors. Flames jumped from house to house. People fled through smoke-filled roads. Soldiers tried creating fire breaks, but the wind pushed the flames forward. The fire raged for 6 days. When it finally ended, 2/3 of Rome was destroyed. So where was Nero? Despite the famous story, Nero was not in Rome when the fire started. He was at his villa in Antium. When he heard the news, he rushed back and helped organize relief efforts. He opened his palace to shelter displaced citizens. He arranged food shipments. He paid for temporary housing. Still, the rumor spread that Nero played music while the city burned. The idea came from his reputation as a performer. Many elites disliked that he sang, acted, and competed on stage. So when Rome burned, they spread the story that he sang from a tower while watching the flames. After the fire, Nero began rebuilding Rome with wider streets, brick buildings, and fireproof materials. But then he made a choice that damaged his reputation permanently. He began constructing his grand palace, the Domus Aurea, or Golden House. Its lavish design made it seem like he cared more about luxury than helping the city recover. People whispered, "Did Nero burn Rome so he could rebuild it for himself?" There is no evidence to support that. But public trust was already damaged, and the rumor became a weapon used against him. After the fire, political tensions exploded. The elites were angry, the people were divided, and Nero's enemies saw an opportunity. In 65 AD, the Personnian conspiracy formed, one of the largest plots against any Roman emperor. Gaius Calpurnius Piso, a wealthy senator, gathered military leaders, writers, and even members of Nero's inner circle. Their plan was to assassinate Nero and replace him with Piso. The conspiracy fell apart when one of the members revealed the plan. Nero reacted with brutal vengeance. Dozens were executed or forced to take their own lives. Even Seneca, Nero's former mentor, was ordered to commit suicide. This event broke any remaining stability in Nero's rule. Paranoia took over. Nero trusted almost no one. He surrounded himself with people who gave him approval rather than advice. He traveled constantly and devoted more time to artistic competitions than to governing. Meanwhile, the empire weakened. Military leaders grew distant. Governors complained. Rebellions simmered in the provinces. Nero still believed he could control Rome through entertainment and spectacle. But the empire was too large, and the problems too serious for a distracted leader. By 68 AD, the situation collapsed. Governors in Gaul and Spain rebelled. The Senate turned against Nero. Even the Praetorian Guard, his personal protection force, abandoned him. In June, Nero learned the Senate had declared him a public enemy. He was no longer emperor. He was alone, hunted, and without support. Nero fled the city with a few loyal freedmen. As soldiers closed in, he realized he had no escape. Rather than face public humiliation and execution, Nero chose suicide. His final words were recorded as, "Too late. What an artist the world loses in me." And so ended the last emperor of the Julio-Claudian dynasty. For centuries, Nero has been remembered as a monster, a tyrant who killed his family, burned his own city, and cared only about pleasure. But modern historians have begun to question this image. Many ancient accounts were written by senators who hated him. Others came from early Christian writers who saw Nero as an enemy of their faith. These groups shaped Nero's reputation after his death. However, archaeology shows that Nero rebuilt Rome with safer designs. He invested in public buildings, cultural festivals, and entertainment for ordinary people. So was he evil, selfish, misunderstood? A mix of all three? Nero was complex. He was artistic, insecure, dramatic, generous, paranoid, and reckless. He rebuilt a city, but lost an empire. He wanted admiration, yet feared everyone around him. He protected the people, but terrified the elites. 2,000 years later, the smoke of Rome's great fire has faded. But the legend of Nero continues, part truth, part rumor, part political propaganda. And the question remains, was Nero the emperor who burned Rome, or the emperor history chose to burn instead?